Good morning. Good morning. We are live. Oh, okay. What I like about 415 is you guys know my quirks. You guys know who I am, what I'm about. That always makes the first day a little less stressful. That being said, I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about the class. I'm going to do the same thing I did with the 310 class because I never did this before, just kind of giving you a little background on me for no other reason so that we can find similarities. Because a lot of times understanding biomechanical stuff is about relating it to things you do understand with all of your life data. Okay? So let's run through this real quick and see. So I'm confirmed. I did Ancestry.com and I'm 7% rebel. So I got that going for me. Come on in. That was me, guys, when I first started teaching here back in the fall of 06. I know I had hair and it was like not gray yet. That's my beautiful wife, Lucy, from Mo, Louisiana. Anybody know where that's at in Vermilion Parish? This was me back when I played football in Delcom. What's great about playing at a small school, no one ever gets cut. Because we're, like, in fact, that was the whole team. Like, we just played one-on-one with whatever team we were playing, right? By me showing these things, it's not to say I was any good or anything, but I can relate to football analogies. Like, I love football. So sometimes if I know you like football, I could use a physics term and say, think of it like if we were throwing, kicking a football or doing this or a pass or a block. So I have a lot of football life data. That's me and Coach Klein. All right, Henry Winkler, Mr. Coach Klein. A little bit of a fanboy for meeting celebrities, getting autographs, because that was my childhood hobby, and now I use it to help raise a lot of money for different charities and stuff. He was really, really nice. He has dyslexia like me, and he didn't learn about it until his kids got, just like I did. I didn't learn I had dyslexia until my sons got diagnosed. And he actually taught me, he's like, get out your phone. And he showed me an app called Dyslexia that takes Word documents and puts them in bigger font to make it easier to read. He was a really, really nice guy. That is me and my sister, and we can cut a rug. My sister is 7 years older than me, and she taught me how to Cajun dance, Zydeco dance, two-step, jig, waltz, because I was going to be she taught me when I was like that big, because I was her wedding date at all the weddings we go to, because apparently in Delcom we have a lot of weddings. I think it's because our divorce rate, I don't know, I don't want to get into it. But we go to all weddings all the time. So I actually, when I was at Auburn and I had to teach activity classes as part of my graduate assistantship, I said, can I teach a Cajun dance class? So I taught some Auburn, I don't know how else to say it, but like not Cajuns, how to Zydeco dance. Dude, I introduced them to Wayne Tubes, introduced them to Steve Riley and the Mambo Playboys, introduced them to Gino. It was a great experience. I love Disney World. I try to go there at the end of every semester just to kind of run away from life. It's awesome. I'm from Delcom, Louisiana. Anybody don't know where that's at? Okay, good. It's just a little small little shrimping town. The reason I say this, because some of you are from small towns too, and that's okay. Some of you from big towns, and that's okay too. But every now and then, my accent may get a little extra tick if I get excited about something. I like to say I'm bilingual. I can speak English and Delcom. That is me with Conway Twitty, who's a kind of a country music legend. I was about 15 years old, and this was 3 months before he died. Again, just stalker. Just when I was a kid, like I just wanted to go to baseball games, and before and after the games, try to get autographs, meet my heroes, meet the players that I looked up to. Just love sports. And there's me and Elvis Stitch, who's a pretty big celebrity. He was pretty cool. He was trying to do the UL thing, but Elvis Stitch can only do so much. That's me and Stan Lee. Anybody know who Stan Lee is? Pretty cool, huh? That was in New Orleans. That was the year he passed away. And he was 96 at the time. Stan Lee did he created Iron Man and the Hulk and all the Spider-Man, but he was also a World War II guy. He actually served with Dr. Seuss in the same unit. Pretty cool. I wanted him to do the UL sign because it's like Spider-Man. But he was like, my arthritis. I was like, it's okay, Mr. Sandy. You do whatever you want to do. Just happy to meet you. But he was really nice. There's me stalking Dwight Gooden when I was about 14, 13 years old. Dwight Gooden is a famous pitcher for the New York Mets. Like when I tell you I love sports, This was in Houston. I didn't want to go to Astroworld. I wanted to go to the team hotel and just stalk players and meet them and get autographs. That's all I wanted to do. There is me being silly at St. Jude's fundraiser. I call auctions. I do a lot of philanthropy, charity work. And we raised a lot of money that night for St. Jude's. There's me with Lisa Guillory. She's from Kaplan, Louisiana. She's a physical therapist now. But I was an athletic trainer. That's what paid for my grad school, was being an athletic trainer. I was an athletic trainer in undergrad and then got certified. And being an athletic trainer at Southern Miss paid for my master's. I worked women's volleyball and women's softball. And my wife, well, she wasn't my wife at the time, but she went to grad school with me. And that's when we really kind of got close. And that's when I asked her to marry me. And then it was super, super awesome. But softball was a great experience. You know what was great about, to me, I've always tried to find relatability with people. Working women's sports really allowed me to see things from their perspective, not as females, but like how their budgets are different or how their strength and conditioning is different. That's a big thing, guys. We would get girls in our program and they never lifted in their lives in high school. And so you think about some of the biomechanics, and we're going to talk about this, but I'm just teasing. You think about some of the biomechanics of women's injuries, they have a much higher incidence of ACL tears, they have much higher incidence, and a lot of that is their muscles. Women typically are more flexible. Men are typically less flexible, but we have more muscle tone. And muscles stabilize joints. It's not just the ligaments, it's the muscle. So we would get these girls that have never lifted in their lives, and they're going out and putting their bodies on the line and all these risk things, and their muscles aren't prepared to do the job. In other words, traditionally, we only think of strength and conditioning as a performance factor, bigger, faster, stronger. But we also have to learn to look at it as a protection mechanism, prevent injuries by being strong. Muscles protect our joints even more than ligaments do. That's something I'm going to preach on in here. We're going to learn. Chuck Norris, dude. Me and old Chuck. It's not Photoshop. Met Chuck Norris. There's me and my dad playing a gig for a fundraiser. My dad is in the Louisiana Living Legends Hall of Fame for Cajun music contribution. He transcribed over 200 Cajun songs into English. His first language was Cajun French, retired principal. He was the best man at my wedding, and he is a really, really cool dude. There's me being silly at Disney World, not Photoshop. How many of you have heard of the David Trostclair Memorial Scholarship? Right? So David, I'm the last faculty member that taught David, but I knew David more than any other faculty member as well. David and I, when I was the faculty advisor for the KPA, David was at all of our meetings, and he would come with me to all the different charity things. The last event we ever worked was St. Jude's event in Jennings, Louisiana. He's just a really, really good guy. So that's me and his mother, Miss Carol, promoting the David Trostclair Memorial Scholarship. There's my dissertation. This almost killed me. Wrist extension counter moment force effects on muscle activity for the extensor corpi radialis with gripping implications for lateral epicondylasia. Yeah, I don't know what it means either. Guys, this was me when I was your age. I took out an old yearbook. Yeah, this was USL. Back then it was USL. And so this was when I was your age, sitting right there in that corner, taking the classes that you taught in this building. So in other words, we're linked, like we're family. Like ancestry DNA, maybe not, but we are linked by not only being alumni from here, but the people that mentored and taught me. I'm going to pass down some of that stuff to you, and then you're going to go off and help other people with some of that knowledge too. I think it's really kind of elegant and beautiful that we're kind of part of this kinesiology tree. I'm in the middle. All right, that's my dad and my two sons. I have 2 kids that I know about. And joke, guys, it's a joke to see if you're awake. The oldest, Trayson, it's his birthday today. 17 years old. Get off my lawn, bro. Time's going fast. That's Brian, my youngest, and really, really good kids. We got to do the Star Wars hotel before it closed at Disney World. My dad didn't know what was going on. It was awesome. So, Shad, what we got to do? Why they did it? Dad, just enjoy the ride. This is my mentor, Dr. Wendy Weimer. She was my major professor at Auburn University. Again, I got to see academia from a female's perspective. To give you an example, we're walking on campus at Auburn, and we're walking with other professors. One of them I'm going to introduce you in a little bit, Dr. Madsen. And students will refer to the men, Dr. Madsen, Dr. Shepard, Miss Weimer, and we walk and she's like, you notice that? I did. So the way academia sometimes treats females is different as well, and I got firsthand experience of that. Okay. Again, I'm not, all I'm saying is that I have a lot of vast experience with different populations. When I was at Auburn, my first 2 years, I did a fellowship called the Kenny Howard Fellowship, where all we did was work with minors and their interests, like kids. Because all I ever did was work with college athletes. And when you work with kids, there's different injury concerns. Their bones aren't fused, and their ligaments are actually stronger than the muscles. And so their sprained ankles, there's different concerns about growth plate injuries and stuff like that. So I try to take all of this experience in a lot of different areas and try to find relatability to you guys. Because some of you may want to work with kids. Some of you may want to work with older people. There's different concerns and considerations when you work with different populations. She's awesome. She's the godmother of my oldest. That was me way back in the day, my senior year playing I love basketball. Football, basketball, baseball was my favorite sport, but we didn't have a high school team, and track. And so again, relatability. We may be talking about a biomechanical concept, and I may ask you, what's your favorite sport, skill, activity? And I've worked with swimmers, I've worked with gymnasts, I've worked with wrestlers. So I'm not saying I work with everything, but by applying these concepts to your world where you have life data, where you're the expert, sometimes it makes things click. That especially with physics. Because physics could be like, but you have so much physics data in your head that you don't even realize. A lot. We just have to unlock it. So this is the stuff that geeks me out, man. External shoulder rotation position. Y'all had me in 310. You know I geek out about this kind of stuff. All right, talk about family tree. This is Dr. George. Dr. George is taught in this class. He was the biomechanics person here at USL. He was my first ever A. Guys, when I tell you I didn't make good grades, I made good grades. Until I took anatomical phys and until I took biomechanics. And I was like, that's what my mind was made. So George, a lot of 310, a lot of that stuff, that came from this guy. This guy inspired my way of seeing things and my way of teaching things. George is in the USA, not Louisiana, not the South, the USA Gymnastics Hall of Fame for his contribution to safety through biomechanics. Great teacher, great professor. And so a lot of things that I'm going to be teaching you started way back. And I know what you're thinking, like, well, dude, don't things change? Not in the world of physics. Like, think about it. In physiology, every day. That's why I don't like physiology. It changes too much. But in physics, this is your humerus today, and this is going to be your humerus tomorrow. This is going to be flexion tomorrow. F is equal to MA. It's going to be F is equal to MA tomorrow. Newton has been around for a long time. Okay? The application changes. Athletes get bigger, faster, stronger, or smaller, faster, stronger. Hashtag Simone Biles, right? So the application can change, but the principles have been the same for 100 years. And I like that. That's my Linus blanket. Whoo, Nels Madsen. Let me tell you about this dude. Dr. Madsen taught me at Auburn. He was the engineer expert. And this guy won an Academy Award for his motion capture technology that did Avatar and Lord of the Rings. And very, very bright guy. But a kind man and a patient man. I wish I had Madsen's patience. I'm working on it. New year, new me. Let me tell you the best story about Madsen, because I think there's some life lessons here. Dr. Madsen didn't look like an athlete. Big goggles, could see into the future. He rode a bicycle to school with a basket, like Wizard of Oz, like rode a bicycle to school. And one day he said, Brian, I heard you like to play basketball. I was like, yes, sir, Dr. Madsen. I like to play. He's like, well, me and some of the faculty play at noon every day. Why don't you come play with us one day? I'm 26 years old, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to hurt these guys. Yes, sir, I'll come by. Bro, Madsen posts me up, first play, posts me up, elbows me to the throat, drop step, lays it up, and he's running by, he's like, good try. And I'm like, what just happened? Dominating. He knows physics, he knows angles, and he played every day. And the lesson was, don't judge. You never know. You never know what someone's going to know. And I think that's very important how we think about it. If you lined up 10 people and said, pick the lawyer, it could be anybody. Short person, tall person, big person, small person. But in kinesiology, a lot of times you say, pick the expert in fitness or human movement. Our tendency is going to pick the person who looks the part. You guys, I'm saying, sometimes the people that look the part don't know a lot. Especially when it comes to different populations. In other words, they may know what works for them, but can they help a 70-year-old with osteoporosis? Or someone with specific medical conditions, or someone that has contraindications, right? See what I'm saying? So sometimes we just have to make sure we don't judge it. I'm guilty of it too. Don't judge those books by their covers. A funny story, once I'm not going to say the name of the fitness place, but it rhymes with Fred's. And when I first got back here, I joined, and there was a student working. This was a long time ago. Student was working, and we had a test coming up, and so I was just messing with her. She was studying. And I went to her and I said, "Man, what muscles are involved in doing it?" Like a 310 kind of question, right? What muscles? And she was studying. She knew I was joking, so she kind of laughed. And guys, this dude, I don't know where he came from, but he was a worker. It was like a Batman movie, like there's a puff of smoke and Batman's there, just like, man, Batman. And he comes out of nowhere, and he's like, "Sir, I heard your question, and it's your forearm muscles." And I was like, "Wow, thank you. It's very kind of you. Thank you." And it goes. And so that's one of the things that, if you remember from 310, we kind of battle is you are paying for an education in fitness, kinesiology, human movement, but not everybody has to do certain jobs. Right? So we kind of have this conflict of interest between somebody who, works out, fitness, they read the bro science magazines, right? But how do we know that person can translate knowledge to different populations? Working with kids, working with adults. In fact, one of the biggest dropout rates is because so many aggressive personal trainers hurt first-time people so much. Like, in other words, the next day they can't get out of bed, and they think it's a good thing, but the person's like, I never want to feel this way again. style. So little things like that. Like we just can't judge that book by its cover in life and whatever we do. What a man, Dr. Matz. That's my dad. My dad was a stud per my mom. Y'all, back in the day, so my dad was a state champion in triple jump and long jump. I actually joked with my mom that my mom watered down my genetic potential. Thanks, Mom. I could have been like a good athlete. Smoking like 6 packs a day, drinking like, because back then they didn't know, dude. My favorite story, I've heard a lot of stories about my dad, but my favorite one was when I was a senior in high school. And we're going to a basketball tournament in Kaplan. This guy stops me, he says, "Hey, are you the Campbell boy?" Well, I thought I was big time stuff. I was like, "Yes, sir, I am." He's like, "Your dad, that's Pat Campbell?" I said, "Yes, sir, yeah." He said, "You run track?" I said, "Yes, sir, I do." He said, "You run the 100?" I said, "Yes, sir, I do." That man looked me up and down and said, "Son, you'll never be as fast as your dad." Oh, I love it. That's my best friend, man. He always downplays it. "Oh, Shad, you know, I don't know." They ran on the grass. Like their tracks were grass. In fact, y'all know what a cinder track is? Like cinders, like burnt. They don't have them anymore, but like that was like running on a fancy track for them back in the day. And there's me when I was Dad's age. More of stuff what I love, man, external shoulder rotation. And we're going to get into what's cool about biomechanics. In 310, if you think about it, like we just learned Lego pieces, like trying to differentiate specific motions from illusions. In biomechanics, we're going to actually get to put it all together with movement patterns and strategies. And more important than that, we're going to compare and contrast how beginners and experts do and how you progress, or how a child may start and how they develop and progress with their movement strategy. Okay? It's going to be cool. God, so cool, man. Guys, just for reference, if you sit up, I think we did this in 310, but if you sit up and don't lean back, like your catapult can only go so far, right? This dude's forearm is parallel with the earth, and he's leaning forward. So that would be like if you were here and you rotated your shoulder like Beetlejuice, or like you're possessed, like it would just. That's cool. That's how you throw 95 miles an hour. That's how you throw 100 miles an hour. When I was a kid, I had coaches that told me anybody could throw 90 miles an hour. It's all in your mechanics and your form. After 10 years of college, I could go back to that coach and say, Shaquille O'Neal has a gift. You look at Shaq and you say, that's a basketball player because he's mechanically built, tall, big. Simone Biles, she's built to be a gymnast. She's still got to work. You can't see these gifts in throwers. They don't walk around with their arm externally rotated from this. But this is a rare gift, just like Shaquille O'Neal is a rare gift. Their window shoulder rotation is different than ours. I can internally rotate way down here, they stop about right there. So they still have the same motion, but because of their scapula and their lumbar joint, their window shifts. It's rare. It's a rare gift. We can't see this because it happens so fast. You see the ball, and 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 then all of a sudden it's a fork. I can see Shaq's gift. I need slow motion cameras. This. Pretty cool. All right, there's my office 123B. You guys know the drill. Let's do this. This class is listed as hybrid, but we are going to be, I'm going to teach every day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I would love for you to come to class. I'm not going to take roll. Why would I love for you to come to class? To me, it's a better learning experience. You get to ask questions. I get to answer your questions. We get to get up and do some examples. However, I understand that life happens. You get sick, you have children, you travel, So every day, and you talk about teaching an old dog new tricks, I'm going to stream class straight to my YouTube channel. Okay? There's going to be no longer me posting the links because I don't have to. Just go to my YouTube channel and find Monday, whatever, Friday, whatever, Wednesday, whatever. You can rewatch the lecture, or if you're late, you're sick, just watch it in real time. Cool? So you guys, that's why it's listed as hybrid, is because you have the option. I want you to come to class every day. I'm selfish. But at least you won't fall behind if you do have to miss or if like that. Okay? All of our tests are face-to-face. That's the only non-negotiable. Okay? I have primitive, I don't think that's a word. I have dates listed, but guys, this semester's crazy. Like Mardi Gras early and Easter's like in February or something. Crazy. Like our final was in April. Like to me, that's just nuts. So let's just be flexible with exams. We may have to shift it, but I'd like to try to stay true to the schedule. This is the first class ever that we are going to have a project as part of your overall class grade. Okay? Now, before you freak out, well, some of you may be like, hey, it's not a group project because Brian Campbell does not like group projects. What I mean by that is usually when you're in a group, someone doesn't do something or you have to depend on other people. And what if that day they're sick? And it's just backwards, right? What I love about this, after giving it a lot of thought, is last semester I played around with, guys, what are y'all interested in? Like it was, I'm interested in this injury. I'm interested in this. And I had a few lectures where we talked about the late onset muscle soreness. We talked about cramps. We talked about specific injuries. Again, 10 years as an athletic trainer, I know a little bit about a lot of different kind of things. What this will allow us to do is, as we progress through the semester, you knowing what your skill will be will allow you to ask specific questions in class about content related to your skill analysis. So throughout the semester, you'll be able to kind of add to it, understand more about it. And then at the end of the semester, as of now, I'm thinking we won't do it in class. You'll just do like a video of your presentation, like it'll be personal. And you'll send me the link for me to watch it. You can make it private, send me the link, I'll watch your presentation, and I'll make sure you know what you're going to do. But what I like about this, and we'll see, I've never done this before, is that it gives us a reason to engage in conversation outside of whatever example I did. How would this relate to me? How would this relate to this? And so I think that'll be great. I hope it'll be great. All right. Office hours posted, blah, blah, blah. There's the YouTube channel, guys. Course evaluation. Your final is on Tuesday. Who's graduating this semester? Okay. This is, in my opinion, a lot. Oh gosh, I want to be positive, but I also don't want to set false expectations. I think this is a lot easier than 310 because 310 is a new language for a lot of you guys. It's a new language. Now that we have some of that language, we get to have fun with it. So think of it as learning the rules of a sport. Oh, who remembers this? I don't know if they did this where you were at, but in PE, the most boring day. And PE was therapy for me as an ADHD kid. But the worst day was when we had to go over the rules of badminton. but you had to go over the rules so that you can play, right? So 310 was when you had to go over rules and this and not, so it's the same as this and this is the same, right? Now we get to play. Now we get to have fun with it. We actually get to do some stuff with it. Okay? There will be some, I'm going to say the P word, physics. However, I am never going to ask you to solve for X. Because in the real world, we don't solve for X. What I will ask you to do is understand how different variables affect other variables. If this increases, it's going to affect that by making that increase. If this is it easier or harder to push a car that ran out of gas if all your friends are in the car or out of the car? Like stuff like that. Right? You decrease the mass, it makes it easier to influence its motions. Stuff like that. Concepts versus solving. Okay? And then we will go over joint by joint, just like we did in 310. However, we're going to look at it biomechanically. We're going to look at the muscles that influence the motion. We're going to look at the structures of the joints and what do they do well, what do they not do well. When I say what they do well, that means how they're used in sport, activity, and movement. What they don't do well is my knee doesn't move to the side very well, so when something does that, my knee does that. It's not designed to do this. Okay? Madsen, the guy that took me to school in the basketball court, the most intelligent human I've ever known in my life. He said, biomechanics is super simple. It's Newton's second law. We're going to go over that, but F is equal to ma. He's like, that's all I know. You can apply it different ways. But think about 310. Think about how many times I said muscles influence motion through contraction. That's Newton's second law. Muscles, forces, influence movement. Joints change in direction, accelerate movement. That's all it is. So that's why this class relies heavily on specific muscles influencing specific motions. After taking this class, you will no longer need to use the term core. You're going to actually know which obliques work to do which movements. You're going to actually know things like why the upper chest does certain things that the middle doesn't, or why the anterior deltoid does certain things that the posterior doesn't. Okay? It's going to be cool. I think it's going to be cool. All right, this is all similar to 310. Everybody, feel free to read it. Missed early exams. You can be late for an exam, you're going to have less time to take it. So just get here when you can. If you don't tell me that you're sick, I'm going to assume you've overslept. So in other words, if you're sick, you're up. You know you're sick. Just email me. I don't care about verified excuses. I don't care. Just communicate. Just tell me. And that's good enough for me. Okay? Be responsible. This is all 310 stuff. Don't ask to take stuff late. Don't ask to take stuff early. Just let's all play by the same rules. Any questions? Okay. Does everybody understand that I won't be posting links to the lecture? I don't have to. They're just on my YouTube channel. So it'll literally be like 4:15 Friday, January 12th. Class number 2, you know, you just go to it and rewatch it. Or again, if you can't come in, watch it in real time. Cool? The plan is for me to have Unit 1 materials posted for Friday's first lecture. Okay, I'm still tweaking a few things on that. But we should be ready to roll and rock on Friday. Any questions? Okay, we're good? All right, guys, y'all have a great day.